What's up, friends, and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to share everything you need to know about Viome, the do's and don'ts, how to test, and what to look for in your results. Now, I took this test a year ago and I made a couple of mistakes, and I just retested and hope that you can learn from my lessons. But first, if you're new here, welcome. My mission is to help you achieve success without sacrificing your health or happiness. I do product reviews weekly, so if you're into this, click that subscribe button and join the Type A tribe. So in this video, I'll be covering the following. What is Viome? The lessons I learned after taking my first test, the most important data points you should be looking at, and how to make an action plan around your Viome results. Now, if you're already well-versed in what Viome is and you just want to see my results, well, then you can find the timestamps in the description below. And of course, this is not medical advice, so please make sure to consult your doctor or physician before making any big lifestyle or diet changes. So in a nutshell, Viome is a gut intelligence test. You've got trillions of bacteria strains in your microbiome, some good and some not so good. And so what Viome does is actually paint you a picture of everything going on in there. Do you have enough good bacteria to keep you healthy? Are there certain foods that might cause disruption to your biome, etc.? And the way it works is super simple. You order the kit online, you take a stool sample. It's not as gross as it sounds. It's actually very, very easy. You ship it back, you take a 20-minute questionnaire online, and then you wait about 3 to 4 weeks for your results. Now, I'm not gonna go too deep into the science. I will actually link to their website below if you wanna actually check that part out. But I will say that unlike a lot of other microbiome tests in the market that use DNA sequencing, Viome is different in that it uses RNA sequencing. So these are coming from living microorganisms. And they also use machine learning or artificial intelligence to analyze your data and provide you with food recommendations. So what are you gonna get from a $180 Viome test? And the answer is a lot. You get a list of every single bacteria strain, 20 metabolic scores, including things like inflammation and digestive efficiency, supplement recommendations, and of course, a list of foods to avoid and those to consume more of. So now we will move along to my first round of Viome results, some of the mistakes I made and how you can avoid them. So my first round of results said that I should stay away from almonds, bell peppers, and lentils. It also said I had a low count of good gut bacteria and suggested I supplement with both a prebiotic and probiotic. So my first recommendation is actually follow their list of recommendations for at least 90 days. So to be honest, I followed their guidelines for about 2 to 3 weeks after getting my results back, and then I gave up on some of their suggestions. Well, mainly the ones around almonds. You see, I'm a little obsessed with almonds, and I probably eat way too much almond butter for my own good. And as it turns out, not only did almonds show up for me again on my second round of results, but it also showed up for me on a food sensitivity test that I recently did with Everlywell, and I will be doing a full review on that coming up pretty soon. And so I sought out the help of Registered Holistic Nutritionist and award-winning podcaster Brittany Ford, aka Biohacking Brittany, to help me make sense of what's going on with my results.
It's interesting that it is an issue for you on both fronts, and I would say that it could just be the actual almond, or it could be the mold that is on the almond. So what we see a lot with nuts in general is that they're prone to mold, especially butters, roasted nuts. If nuts are mixed into something else, there definitely is something to be said about overeating a particular protein, and which is like the almonds, and having issues with it over time and it come up.
So learning from my mistake the first time, I am ditching the almonds and almond butter for 90 days, and I'm gonna swap it in with their suggestion of hazelnuts and pumpkin seeds. My recommendation number 2, retest after 90 days. So I didn't do this. I waited a whole year to retest, and as a result, I didn't give myself a chance to course correct quickly. So in the last year, I've experienced an acid reflux flare-up and some really uncomfortable bloating after meals both of which I think might be food related. Now, obviously, testing every 3 months can get wildly expensive, but it would have been really helpful for me to at least have done one retest after my first results. So learning from this, I'm 100% going to do a retest after 90 days on this new regimen. Recommendation number 3, if you are gonna take a probiotic, be consistent. So in the last year, I experimented with a ton of different probiotics. I started with Seed, then I moved on to Just Thrive probiotic, and I recently incorporated a woman's probiotic by the company Renew Life. And the problem with probiotics is that they might not contain the actual strains that your body needs. So learning from last time, I am now actually going to incorporate a probiotic that contains the strains Viome recommends I take. And the great thing about Viome is that they actually include links to products that might actually help with your goals. And they make it super simple. All I had to do was click a link, it brought me to Amazon, and I was able to buy Thorne's multi-strain probiotic instead of having to do all the legwork myself. And my final recommendation is have a set goal in mind. Without an incentive or way to track my progress, it is so easy to just fall back into bad habits like eating an entire tub of almond butter. So this time around, I've actually thought about the symptoms I'm currently experiencing and figured out a way that I'm gonna be able to track them over the next 90 days. For instance, I sometimes experience coughing and bloating after meals, and these are things I desperately wanna fix. And so I'm gonna follow Viome's food guidelines and track my progress using this great habit tracking app called TimeCap. Plus, I'll also be using my Oura Ring to track my sleep scores and see if there's any changes or improvements, hopefully due to better digestion. Now, if you're currently testing with Viome or you're thinking about ordering a kit, the results you do get back can sometimes be overwhelming. So to simplify things, here are my top recommendations for the key points you should be looking at. Number 1, foods to avoid. If certain foods are causing some issues for your gut, you might want to consider taking a break from them. But this can be hard for a lot of people, especially if you're following a keto or vegetarian diet and all of a sudden you're told not to eat one of your staple nutrients. Well, that's why Brittany has some really good advice for how to implement this.
Just like every other test, I think it should be taken with a grain of salt. If you get a test back and you pick through it so specifically and change your whole life and your whole diet for it, I mean, it's almost like adding so much stress to you to do that. So it's really a balance. So I would almost say like take out maybe 2 or 3 things that are the most concerning things, if there are that many, and then see how you feel 3 months later.
So for me, those 3 foods are bell peppers, hemp hearts, and of course, almonds. Now the crazy thing is that you might not actually feel the symptoms after eating these specific foods. Like I never get a stomach ache after drinking almond milk or eating almond butter. But Brittany says sometimes symptoms can actually show up 24 to even 48 hours later. And so it's really hard to pinpoint what's causing what unless you do some type of elimination and reintroduction protocol. And the next thing I'd say to look out for is your scores to focus on. So right now I have 9, but I am looking at the top 2 to 3 and really hoping to nail those down. For instance, I'm weak when it comes to digestive efficiency and protein fermentation. Well, for me, Viome suggests taking a digestive enzyme to help facilitate that breakdown process. And then I look to my list of superfoods, including things like alfalfa sprouts, garlic, and salmon, to really help my body along with the digestive process. And finally, we come to the Viome action plan. So if you're very self-disciplined, I think you'd be fine just going along the Viome supplement and food recommendations. Their app is great. It includes a bunch of videos and tutorials on how to best understand your Viome results. Plus, they even have a food tips section where they suggest how to cook certain foods and even what to look for when grocery shopping. But if you're completely overwhelmed and you just need a little guidance, I would definitely suggest reaching out to a nutritionist or a physician. Having Brittany review my data and simplify my action plan just made it so much less daunting. And she even gave me some really unique and concrete suggestions on things I can take to actually help speed up the gut healing process.
Definitely aloe vera juice. If you don't want to take aloe vera juice, something that does something similar is called L-glutamine, which is a amino acid, and it does this like very similar thing where it heals the gut lining. There's also research that shows collagen protein does the same thing. because part of the gut lining is actually made out of collagen. So, putting that into your bulletproof coffee in the morning or putting it into a smoothie or whatever, something like that is actually super easy.
So for the next 90 days, I'm gonna follow Viome and Brittany's suggestions and then retest to see where I stand. And I sure hope you guys will follow me along the way. And in the show notes below, I've included links to Viome if you wanna go and check out their service, and also ways to get in touch with Brittany. Plus, I have our 40-minute full interview all about gut health in the description below. You guys will definitely want to check that out. Brittany was so knowledgeable and had so many great tidbits of advice that I just had to share this whole interview with you guys. So make sure you check that out below as well. And as always, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, if you learned something, please make sure to give it 2 big thumbs up. And if you're not already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join the Type A tribe. And I can't wait to see you on the next one.